What's up, dude? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing? Sorry, that wasn't a very good opening. I just like putting one of my legs up on my chair. Let's see. What can I tell you guys? Last night, while I was researching for this case, I decided that I have all these amazing records and a record player, and I want to listen to the records, so I started putting them on, and then I was like, you know what? I need to listen to every single album that I have at least once. So that's what I did last night, and I didn't realize that I believe I have 4 John Denver records. Which, don't get me wrong, I love John Denver, but at a certain point, he starts to get a little mopey. I realized how much I love Annie's song. I didn't know that he was the original writer and singer of it. So that was kind of cool because it's a very popular wedding song. Let's see what else. Oh, sorry, if my hair looks kind of grimy, it's because I was outside a lot today. For work, I had to help water some trees and stuff, so we were out in the wind, and then I had to go and help cut up shop towels. So I just feel very disgusting and dusty, and I need to shower. But let's see, other than that, I think that's kind of everything that's been going on with me since I last saw you guys last night. I might have also been wearing this shirt. No, I wasn't. Yeah. Anyways, also my window is open, so if you hear additional yelling and stuff, it's... Oh, my sister just got here. So she's here with her dog. Okay, anyways, we're gonna ignore them. I should close my window, but I'm really liking the air coming in. Okay, sorry. We'll just jump into today's video. So today's case is about John Haigh, I believe is how you would pronounce his last name. He was born in Stanford, Lincolnshire, July 24th, 1909, and was raised in the village of Outwood, West Riding of Yorkshire, which is in England. His dad was John Robert Haigh. He was an engineer. John and his wife were members of the Plymouth Brethren, a conservative Protestant sect, which is a low church, which is an Anglican Christians who give little emphasis on ritual. They are nonconformist and originated from the Anglicanism. Yeah, there's also a high church, and they put a lot of emphasis on ritual. John claims to have suffered from recurring religious nightmares in his childhood. That's something that'll kind of come up later, so just remember that. He was proficient at piano, which he learned at home, most likely from his mom, because in this time period, the women would have been staying home. He attended classical music concerts that he very much enjoyed. On July 6th, 1934, at the age of 25, he married Beatrice Betty Hammer, who was 23. The same year, John was arrested for fraud, and Betty gave birth to a baby girl while he was in jail. His family ostracized him from then on. He then moved to London in 1936 and became a chauffeur to a wealthy owner of amusement arcades, William McSwan. I don't think I have it written here in my notes, but unfortunately for John, after he committed fraud and was in prison, his wife gave birth to their baby girl. She put the baby up for adoption, and then she left him. So a lot happened to him in a very short year. He also maintained the amusement machines for this William McSwan. John pretended to be a solicitor named William Cato Adamson with offices in Chancery Lane, London, Guildford, Surrey, and Hastings, Sussex. He sold fraudulent stock shares from his deceased clients. Someone had noticed that he misspelled Guildford as Guilford, which actually, interesting enough, we have gotten mail. My last name is Gifford. We've gotten mail that's addressed to Guilford. I don't know. That has nothing to do with this case. Sorry. So he misspelled Guildford as Guilford on his letterhead, and that was how he got caught. He got a 4-year prison sentence for that. He was released shortly after the start of the Second World War, but continued to be a fraud and served several other prison sentences for committing fraud. He regretted that he left his victims of his fraudulent schemes alive and became very interested in the French murderer George Alexander Garrett, who used sulfuric acid to get rid of bodies. He experimented on mice and concluded that it only took 30 minutes for them to dissolve. After getting out of prison in 1943, he became an accountant for an engineering firm. At a pub soon after, he bumped into his former boss, William, and was introduced to William's parents, Donald and Amy. William worked for them by collecting rents in their London properties, like just rental units. John became jealous of William's lifestyle, and on September 6, 1945, William went missing. John had lured him into a basement, hit him over the head with a lead pipe, and then dissolved his body in a 40-gallon drum. I mean, can anyone say Jeffrey Dahmer? Like, this guy. Like, he was Jeffrey Dahmer before Jeffrey Dahmer. 2 days later, he emptied the drum into a manhole. He told William's parents that he had moved to Scotland to avoid the draft. He then began living in William's house and collected rent for his parents. So, essentially just took over William's life. Love that for him. As the war was coming to an end, Donald and Amy were starting to ask why William hadn't come home yet. Also, why hadn't, he thought to send a fake letter or something to make it seem like William did in fact move to Scotland and was still very much alive? I don't know. On July 2nd, 1945, William got Donald and Amy to come to the same house he lured William to by telling them that he was back from Scotland for a surprise visit. He whacked their head just as he had done to William and disposed of their bodies in the same way. John stole William's pension checks and sold the properties that Donald and Amy owned for £8,000, which would be roughly £383,772.80 in today's money. By 1947, he was running out of money due to a gambling addiction. So, he found another couple to kill and rob. The unfortunate souls were Archibald and Rose Henderson. He pretended to be interested in a house that they were selling. This way, he got invited to their flat by Rose to play piano for their housewarming party. So, I'm sure it was him wanting to see the house and then striking up conversation and then mentioning that he's very proficient in piano and then just, getting an invite to this housewarming party. He stole a revolver that the couple owned while at the party. He had rented a small workshop in the area and moved his acid drums to the workshop. On February 12th, 1948, he drove Archibald to the workshop to show him an invention. There, he shot Archibald in the head with the revolver. John lured Rose to the workshop by telling her that Archibald had fallen ill. Once there, he shot her in the head as well. After dissolving their bodies, he forged a letter with their signatures and sold all of their possessions for, again, £8,000. Everything was sold except for their car and dog, which he kept. So, he was a lot of things, but he wasn't a dog killer. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting that, animals are where you draw the line, because a lot of times it's the other way around. They start on animals and then go to people. But for him, I guess he skipped over animals and went straight for people. His next victim was Olive Durand Deacon, who was 69 at the time and was a wealthy widow for a solicitor, John Durand Deacon. John, or murderer John, met her at the Onslow Court Hotel that they were both staying at. This time John was saying that he was an engineer, which, remember, he also did have a job as an accountant at an engineering firm. Olive mentioned the idea she had for artificial fingernails. He invited her to his workshop on February 18th, 1949, and as soon as she got there, he shot her in the back of the neck with the same revolver that he had used previously. He took all of the valuables that she had on, including a Persian lamb coat, which would have been worth around $700, at the time, roughly, if it was in really great shape. And he put her in an acid bath. 2 days later, one of Olive's friends reported her missing. Soon after, investigators discovered John's record of theft and fraud, and this prompted them to search his workshop. They also ended up finding a dry cleaning stub for the Persian lamb coat that he had taken. The workshop didn't have any drainage, so John disposed of Olive's remains by pouring out the container on a rubble pile at the back of the property. As pathologist Keith Simpson examined the rubble pile, he found 28 pounds of human fat, part of a human foot, human gallstones, and part of a denture, which later was identified to be Olive's. When John was getting questioned by Detective Inspector Albert Webb, he asked, "Tell me frankly, what are the chances of anybody being released from Broadmoor, which is a high-security psychiatric hospital?" Webb responded that he could not discuss that type of thing, so John said, "Well, if I told you the truth, you would not believe me. It sounds too fantastic to believe." Like, okay, mister, he was kind of cocky, thought he really did something. He then proceeds to tell Webb about all of the murderers, just completely confesses right then and there. He also confessed to killing 3 additional people, a young man named Max, a girl from Eastbourne, and a woman from Hammersmith. He tried to plead insanity when he went to trial. He talked about some of these terrible nightmares that he had been having, claiming that they had something to do with why he murdered. He was saying that there was a lot of blood in these dreams and that they were very gruesome, which, remember, he did say that he had a lot of religious type nightmares too. I'm not saying that's a reason to kill anybody, but I'm just saying it's interesting that as a kid he claimed to have nightmares and he's claiming to have them now again too. It only took minutes for the jury to find him guilty. He was sentenced to death. John had a brandy right before being hung on August 10th, 1949. And that's the case of John Haigh. Pretty crazy. So he really was like Jeffrey Dahmer before Jeffrey Dahmer. I think that the death penalty was a good idea because if he knew how to get rid of bodies like that, I mean, why would you want to risk him being able to get out or be put on parole? I don't know. So his whole idea with the sulfuric acid and dissolving bodies was that if they can't find a body, how can they charge him? Like, they'll have no evidence or no proof. Like, if a body is just gone, they can't very well prove that he was the one that did it. If he can't produce a body, or if they never come across a body, they could just be claimed to be still a missing person. So, you know, even if you dissolve a person's body, you still can very much get charged and prison time for murder, as you should. I don't know. I thought this guy was kind of wild. He was just very blasé about the whole thing, it seemed like. Like, took it kind of seriously, but also was just like, you know, I wanted these people's lives. They had good lives, so I just thought I would take it, you know. No big deal. I don't know. It's almost laughable how crazy this guy's attitude kind of was about, you know, killing people. But anyways, that is our case for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for cases that you'd like me to just quickly cover like this, leave them in the comments down below. I don't go into every single fact and detail and piece of evidence that we have on these cases. My goal is just to give you sort of the basis of the crime and what happened so that, you know, you feel like you learn something. And if you want to know a little bit about true crime but don't want to know every single, you know, really gruesome detail, this is the channel to be subscribed to, because I want to just tell you, like I said, the facts, the meatiest parts of the case and the story and what happened, and let you be on your way and click on another video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back tomorrow with another True Crime Courier video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!